Understanding what adoptee loyalty is and how it can affect your reunion is really important. Reacting negatively can cause a rift in your reunion relationship, but being able to identify and empathize with those feelings can create a great relationship. Knowing that these are boundaries that you should not cross helps to keep you in check and rein in your emotions. Now, I say this all from a birth mom's perspective, of course, but this can also be true for anyone reuniting with an adoptee. Before I get into the definition of adoptee loyalty and what it actually looks like, let me introduce myself. My name is Kat Davald. I'm a 48-year-old birth mother, and I have been in reunion for 4.5 years with my 32-year-old daughter. So what is adoptee loyalty? Now, there's no real definition for it. I'm taking all of this from what I have read and what I have heard from other adoptees speaking about their own loyalty. What it boils down to is the adoptee feeling protective over their parents' feelings so that they don't get hurt by any reunion or anything that they do. It doesn't even have to be in reunion. It can also be outside of reunion, saying something that they know would hurt their parents' feelings, like wondering about their birth mother or their birth father. But I'll get into that a little bit later. So that's basically the definition, is an adoptee protecting their adoptive parents' feelings so that they don't get hurt. And let me preface this by saying that adoptee loyalty is not a bad thing at all. It is a subconscious trauma response that they have so that they can protect the people that they love, that nurtured them and raised them. So it's not a bad thing at all. So what does adoptee loyalty look like? Now, this can take many forms, and it's not just within reunion, but it can take place in childhood as well. And one type of example would be if the adoptee, as a child, inquired to their adoptive mother or their adoptive father about one or both of their birth parents and wanted to know some information. And that adoptive parent's reaction was to get upset about it, to cry or be defensive about it. So then therefore that adoptee would internalize that and go forward and never ask again, because they knew that that made their mom uncomfortable. It made them have feelings of hurt, and they didn't want to do that. So that is one type of adoptee loyalty. Another type would be waiting until your adoptive parents have passed before you reach out to any of your birth parents and do any type of searching to find them, because they don't want to upset their parents, their mom and dad that raised them. They don't want to see them hurt, even if they were encouraging during their whole lifetime. It's still, you don't want to see that person that you love get hurt, so you would wait until they passed in order to go and find your birth parents. And another way that adoptee loyalty kind of comes out is through people pleasing. Basically, the adoptee will go above and beyond what they would normally do in order to show that to show their adoptive parents that they are their parents, that they are their only parents, and they only respect them as such. And maybe an instance would be like cleaning the whole house from top to bottom, after they've had a weekend with their birth parents or something. Or maybe like cooking an elaborate meal or paying for an elaborate meal at a restaurant for all of the family. So they want to show their gratitude and appreciation for their parents, and they don't want them to feel any type of hurt if they were in contact with their birth mother or father. So that's a little bit about what adoptee looks like. This can be on a huge range, from subtle to very, prominent, and you would totally be able to tell. So I would just keep in mind that there is a range that an adoptee can have with their adoptee loyalty. And they may not even have any either. They may just be they may feel just fine in going forward without that. So what should you do if you see that your child that you're in reunion with is showing adoptee loyalty? The first thing that you should do is empathize. It's a trauma response, and it's not a reflection of you. It's not a reflection of how they were raised or their parents or anything. Just empathize with it, because it is a trauma response that they are internalizing and they are dealing with. It's a struggle. If you have any kind of trauma responses or triggers or anything, you should be able to understand how that would manifest inside of you, so that you can understand how that adoptee loyalty would manifest inside your child. Another thing you can do when you realize that your child is having adoptee loyalty issues and you see what they are doing is offer support. And I'm not saying to call out what you are seeing. Don't say, oh, hey, you're doing such and such. I see your adoptee loyalty. That's a trauma response. Don't do that. Offer supportive language. Like if your child comes to you and says, oh, hey, my mom and dad went on vacation, so I cleaned the whole house for them before they came back. From top to bottom, I scrubbed everything down so it's nice and shiny and everything like that. And it's not something they normally would do. But their adoptive parents have known that they met with you during the time that they were away. Just be supportive and use supportive language like, oh, that's so nice of you to do something like that. That must be really great. Or even maybe like a type of supportive language like, it must have been really hard to be at home all alone without them for the first time, or whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. If you can't figure out any supportive language on the spot, then just be, oh, that's wonderful. You don't have to, what I'm trying to do right now. You don't have to make it into a lengthy conversation. Just praise them, be supportive, and that's it. And lastly, the last thing, if you can't do either one of these two things, then do absolutely nothing. Do absolutely nothing at all. Just understand it for what it is. Understand that it's a trauma response. Don't try to fix it, and don't try to explain it. Just realize it and put it to the side. It's not something for you to take any initiative to correct anything that is going on. I kind of understand it as being a form of anxiety. Like you get, I would do things that would be people pleasing, and you feel anxiety, that feeling in your stomach. So I would kind of call it like anxiety. So you're not, a therapist or anything, especially since you're a birth parent. We are not probably going to be able to help our children as much as a therapist, as much as we would want to, learning about this type of stuff. It's probably just not our place to break down what their actual issues are. So does adoptee loyalty ever stop? And honestly, I can't answer that question. I think that every adoptee is an individual, and perhaps as they grow and mature, from a young age to an older age, or even within your relationship with them, I think that it may get easier for them because when your relationship starts to grow and become more, not normal, but more solid, it's more on a foundation, because the first couple years are very like, who are you, where are you, like what's going on type of thing. It's first couple years of reunion is rough. So it really depends on the adoptee. However, sometimes with the death of their adoptive parents, their mom and dad, sometimes the adoptee loyalty goes away immediately because they now have that, I don't want to say freedom because that sounds horrible, but they have that weight lifted off of their shoulders, that they don't have to hurt their adoptive parents, if they go searching or if they find their birth parents. And then sometimes with healing, counseling and therapy work and inner healing and everything, sometimes it may go away because they would realize that maybe after talking to their adoptive parents about it, if they're able to open up like that, they would realize that they wouldn't need to feel that way anymore. But sometimes they never will, get over that adoptee loyalty feeling. And again, it's not for you to pick apart. It's not for you to heal or anything. It is a trauma response that's basically subconscious for the adoptee, and it's for them to heal. So I just wanted to make a video so that everybody is aware of what adoptee loyalty looks like and how to respond to it, or rather not respond to it. So in closing, I can't make a determination that when you meet with the child that you give for adoption, that they will or will not have this trauma response called adoptee loyalty. My hope is that now, since you've watched this video, you can identify adoptee loyalty and be supportive rather than defensive, as that reaction might drive a wedge between your relationship. So that's all for today's video. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.